Meaningful and culturally affirming assignments and assessments provide vital feedback to learners on their performance and instructors on their teaching. If an instructor puts in the time to develop valid assignments and assessments, students should be able to achieve challenging tasks. An indicator, Nielsen argues, indicates that your test or assignment was a worthwhile learning experience as well as a fair evaluation. According to Gay, culturally responsive teaching is defined as using, in quote, the cultural characteristics, experiences, and perspectives of ethnically diverse students as conduits for teaching them more effectively, end quote. Therefore, an assignment is meaningful and culturally affirming if it appropriately supports and measures student learning while leaning upon their own cultural backgrounds. As instructors, it is imperative that we become experts not only in our content area, but also in our delivery of that content and in the multicultural backgrounds of our students. The following 3 strategies can help you develop meaningful and culturally affirming assignments and assessments. Strategy number 1, backward design. Start with your unit-level learning outcomes. To identify the appropriate learning outcomes, ask yourself how students will be different after they've completed the assignment. Using Bloom's taxonomy, identify the level of learning that is most appropriate for the desired outcome. Next, identify the appropriate teaching methods for that level learning. Finally, use Fink and Fink's 3-column tool for developing a well-aligned course and identify the most appropriate assignment. Nielsen argues that, quote, the most appropriate means of instruction will afford your students practice plus feedback and the performances specified in your learning outcomes, end quote. Strategy number 2, culturally affirming. Culture, according to Ford and Kia, is, quote, the beliefs, attitudes, values, habits, customs, and traditions shaped by a group of people, unquote. Therefore, to be culturally responsive means that, quote, teachers work proactively and assertively to understand, respect, and meet the needs of students from cultural backgrounds that are different from their own, end quote. Instructors must also acknowledge that students are also different from each other. A, quote, student-centered classroom does not exist if culture is ignored or disregarded in any way, end quote. To create culturally affirming assignments, Nielsen suggests that instructors should, end quote, suggest prior knowledge to which students can link new and future information and knowledge, end quote. Culturally affirming assignments tap into each individual student's cultural context, making important links between what they already do or know and what the assignment is helping them practice. As Boyd suggests, consider, quote, a way for students to make the assignment their own, end quote. Perhaps you could, quote, provide opportunities and resources for students to visit professional or cultural sites where they can contextualize their learning, end quote. Effective cross-cultural communication is an important aspect of culturally affirming assignments. To ensure your assignment is culturally affirming, ask, have all students had opportunities to be evaluated in ways that are comparable with how they learn and communicate? Strategy number 3, explicit instructions. Provide clear and detailed instructions and consider having a colleague review them for clarity. As Boyd notes, and quote, ultimately the connection between the assignment and its purpose should be clear to both you and your students to ensure that it is fulfilling the desired goals and doesn't seem like busy work, end quote. Boyd suggests including the 5 following components: the purpose of the assignment, the rhetorical or cognitive modes of the assignment if it's written, the audience that it is made for, the logistics of the assignment, and the evaluation criteria. Remember to direct students to the appropriate resources they may need for the assignment in the instructions, and consider providing examples. Now let's quickly work through an example. Let's start with the outcome. By the end of this unit, students will be able to propose a bill. Using Bloom's taxonomy, we see that this outcome aligns with the create level. Now let's brainstorm ways students can demonstrate achievement of this outcome. Students could potentially submit a written bill proposal of their new bill idea. They could give a presentation on their new bill idea. They could create a video or a public service announcement of their bill idea. Or maybe they create a podcast episode where they pitch their bill idea to the American public. Now that we have our outcomes aligned with our assessment activities, let's brainstorm ways we can help students practice these skills. For example, we could use problem-based learning, have students get together in small groups and identify an issue or a problem known in society, and then devise potential solutions to that problem, which would then be the foundation for their bill idea. Students could practice proposing their bill using in-class simulations. Now I put my learning goals, assessment activities, and learning activities in Fink & Fink's 3-column tool to ensure alignment. Now let's evaluate what we have for cultural relevance. We can ask, in what ways might students link pre-existing knowledge or cultural practices to the assignments and assessments we just created? By providing options, we've allowed students to bring in their own cultural backgrounds and pre-existing knowledge. For example, they get to choose what issue they want to confront. They can go to their local community and identify a common or reoccurring issue within that community to focus on. We've also provided them options for the ways of communicating their potential solutions to that issue. And finally, we want to provide students with clear and detailed instructions. For example, we could explain the purpose of the activity, the audience the bill should be directed to, how to complete the assignment, how their performance will be evaluated using the assignment, some relevant resources that could help them do it, and an example. To learn more, consider exploring the references